Hello everyone, welcome to New Gen Politics. Ron DeSantis and Kevin McCarthy have gotten into a feud this week after Speaker McCarthy made some disparaging comments about the Florida governor and his campaign.
And look, I served with Ron DeSantis. He's not at the same level as President Trump by any shape or form. He would not have gotten elected without President Trump's endorsement. I actually want to achieve something. And this is where President Trump is so smart that he was successful in this. You know, President Trump is beating Biden right now in the polls.
Yeah, we have the poll. Let's show it.
He's stronger than he has ever been in this process. I think he will be the nominee. And the thing is, President Trump is stronger today than he was in 2016 or 2020. And there's a reason why. They saw the policies of what he was able to do with America, putting America first, making our economy stronger. We didn't have inflation. We didn't have these battles around the world. We didn't look weak around the world.
But is the speaker right in his accusations? Well, let's break down the three different claims McCarthy's made when comparing DeSantis to Trump, and see if there's any basis for the things he's saying. So first he says DeSantis is not on the same level as Trump. And that is true. DeSantis has been a governor, Trump's been the president. Trump has been a national icon for decades. DeSantis has been a household name for only the last couple years. In terms of popularity, notoriety, experience, gravitas, they're not on the same level. And that doesn't mean DeSantis can't be, but he's got to acknowledge the reality and say, how do I get to be on Trump's level? Because he's fighting this uphill battle. McCarthy is right. They're not on the same level. Real quick, before we move on to the second reason, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. And if you enjoy this content, leave a comment down below. It really helps me out a lot. Now on to reason number 2. Second, he says that Trump's dominating in the polls. Again, another absolutely true claim. If you look at 538, which has accumulation of dozens of different polls, you can see since January, DeSantis has been falling and Trump has been rising, all the way to the point where Trump is currently sitting at 55.9%, and DeSantis is only sitting at 14.6%, basically the lowest he's been. That gap has only widened, and the DeSantis campaign continues to be in panic mode. And those claims about how DeSantis would beat Biden by a larger margin than Trump, that he'd easily win the presidency, those claims are pretty unsubstantiated when you look at the polls. Current polls have Biden sitting around 44% compared to Trump's 41%, and Biden having 43% against DeSantis' 41%. So this poll by the Center Square has DeSantis doing slightly better than Trump at 1%, but it's well within the margin of error. And there's polls all over the place saying Trump's doing better than DeSantis, some even saying that Trump is beating Biden by a point or two, all well within the margin of error, but it just goes to show they're basically tied in who would beat Biden or who would lose to Biden. There's not this massive gap in DeSantis being 20 points higher than Trump in terms of facing Biden, which is the story they've kind of made from the beginning and said he has a better chance. In reality, he doesn't. And another part of this poll specifically is when you look at the preferred Republican primary candidate, Trump just dominates DeSantis. It's just not even close. And same story with every other candidate. And the other candidates are probably taking votes from Ron DeSantis in terms of who they would support as their next best option. But even if you add all those together, they're still nowhere close to Trump. If you took every other candidate's votes and gave them to DeSantis, still trailing Trump by a significant margin, close to 30%. So again, McCarthy completely right about this assertion. Next, let's go to the third accusation, that Trump has a proven record where DeSantis doesn't, saying that under Trump we didn't have inflation, we didn't have battles around the world, we didn't look weak around the world. There's some provable facts that happened during the Trump presidency that we can almost guarantee will repeat themselves. That Trump will keep his policy positions or maybe go even further in a conservative fashion and try to take out these elites, which has been his plan the whole time. So what you can expect from a Trump presidency is New Life Plus, basically the same thing, or even better. Where DeSantis has never been president, he has a lot of ideas, he has some good ideas, but as of right now, they're all promises. And so why would you take the guy making promises versus the guy you already know has a substantially proven record, and a pretty good quality record at that? I mean, love him or hate him, Trump's the evil you know. You can expect a certain level of shenanigans and a certain level of quality of life that you'll have during the next 4 years of a Trump presidency, where you're not so certain about DeSantis. You don't know if he'll actually be able to get in and do what he needs to do. Maybe he'll be bogged down by the system. Maybe he won't fight as hard as Trump. Maybe his plans will fall apart. Who knows? I certainly don't, and you don't. And that's why people are sticking with Trump. They're brand loyal to him. Why have the discount version if you can buy the name brand? And that's the attitude a lot of Republican voters currently hold. So he needs to stand out of the pack and position himself to be not a generic version of Trump, but an individual with good ideas that can supersede Trump's. Because when you compare Trump and DeSantis, DeSantis loses in almost every category. He loses in charisma, he loses in base loyalty, he loses in energy, he loses in status as an outsider, he loses in financial independence, he loses in experience. The only way DeSantis can compete with Trump is on policy. And he has some good policy positions, some that I think are even better than Trump's. Things like his tax plan, which would get rid of federal income tax, payroll tax, estate taxes, and replace them all with a 23% sales tax on all things bought and sold. Which means if you don't want to spend your money, if you want to actually invest it, you're not going to get taxed on that money until you spend it. So you can take your money, invest it, and make money from it without being taxed to death. And it means you're only going to get taxed one time when you spend your money, not both when you get it and when you spend it. And it would come out to a smaller total than what we currently have. You'd be paying less in taxes, and it would simplify the process. And maybe over time, we could lower that 23% sales tax. It'd be easier to lower one tax than to lower or remove all these taxes across the board. You also have his border plan, which includes mass deportations. It's a major part of his border plan, and that's a necessary part of cleaning up the border crisis. But he doesn't highlight these ideas. Instead, he tries to act like Trump, boast about being a, quote, threat to the elites, but in reality, he's just not that guy.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
He wastes his time trying to be something he's not. When DeSantis made a clapback against McCarthy for the comments McCarthy made this week, he said, quote, "I am not somebody who the DC establishment wants to see up there. There's no question about that because they know a lot of things will be changing if I'm there." And that's the best he could come up with. It's like he's begging to be taken seriously as a threat to the elites, but it's coming off as really quite desperate. Because currently he's not a very big threat. And not a comparable threat to Trump. I mean, look at what they're going through, the hoops they're jumping through to get rid of Trump. To make him not even be able to be on the ballot or not capable of running in the first place. They hate Trump that much. And you're gonna say that you're a bigger threat than that guy? You're not. The elites don't even spend time berating DeSantis because it's basically not worth it. They think he's kind of a dead horse in the race anyways. So DeSantis needs to focus on his policies over trying to act like Trump and trying to act like he's the establishment outsider. You're trying to copy somebody's shtick and you're never going to live up to it. So DeSantis needs to stop wasting time trying to be something he's not. Because right now, people have no idea who he is and what he stands for. And that's why Speaker McCarthy is right. Trump will absolutely beat DeSantis if things stay the same. Now that you've heard what I think, please let me know what you think down in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.